So they'll give us the go.
Good morning, everyone. What an honor it is for me to be here. And I love to see all these people here today. Thank you for being here. I'm proud to serve as the PA to the Minister of Energy and Electrification, Stephen Lecce, and the MPP for Mississauga Lakeshore. And I'm honored to welcome you here today again, because as we work to build Ontario's clean energy advantage and support all the new jobs, growth, and investment we bring into Ontario. So much of this work is happening right here in Mississauga Lakeshore, from the IESO just down the road here to Hatch, where we just celebrated over 100 years in leadership in hydroelectric, and right here at Atkins Realis, which is working to deliver the latest nuclear technology and refurbishing our CANDU reactors. Together, Mississauga Lakeshore is leading the way to provide clean, reliable, and affordable energy that our province is growing, and all around the world. With that, I want to welcome my good friend and my boss, the Minister of Energy, Stephen Lecce, to the podium.
Well, thank you. It's amazing to be here. So thank you so much, Rudy Cazzetto. Rudy and I have been on this mission since June together, and I'm grateful to him, his leadership, his passion, and his commitment to the people of Mississauga. So thank you so much, Rudy, for being just a solid partner and friend. We're doing this together. I also want to give a shout out to the amazing Associate Minister of Small Business, Nina Tangri. This is an exciting day for Nina and I, because this is an investment in the supply chain of Ontario, and our small and medium-sized enterprises will benefit. So thank you for your leadership in ensuring these big contracts have impact on the ground to some of our smallest enterprises in the province. I want to thank Sharif Sabawi and Patrice Barnes, two amazing members from Mississauga and Ajax, who have been working with us as we build out our clean energy future, standing up for affordability. Of course, to Nicole Butcher, the President and CEO of OPG, thank you for your leadership. And to John Beck, the founder and chairman of ACON, it is a pleasure to be with you. And to Joe St. Julian and Gary Rose from Atkinson Realis, thank you for your partnership and for your incredible leadership. I also want to thank John, the president of BWXT Canada, and Trevor from the Mississauga Board of Trade, our president here. We've got an amazing team of leaders in business and C-suite, so thank you for joining us. This really is a pivotal moment in the history of our province, one that presents significant challenges, including the threats of tariffs from President Trump, and also one that presents significant opportunities, because under the leadership of Premier Ford, our province is growing. We're attracting world-class industries like electric vehicle manufacturing, clean steel production. We're preparing for a growing population, and we are building a brighter future together. But with this success comes responsibility. As President Ford leads the fight against U.S. tariffs, we must and we are continuing to plan for a more prosperous future. Notwithstanding those challenges, we still see light at the end of this tunnel, because we're planning for an affordable and reliable energy future that we're going to need, because our province is growing. At least 75% more power is needed by 2050. And as we've often said, this is like adding the equivalent of 4.5 cities of Toronto to the grid. And in the face of rising global pressures on energy supply chains and costs, our government is committed to a made-in-Ontario solution that guarantees our energy security and the affordability for the people we serve, for our families, our seniors, and our farms. That starts with making the best use of the existing generation that we already have, and take the Pickering Nuclear Generating Station as a case study. It has powered cities and towns across Ontario with safe, affordable, reliable, zero-emission electricity for more than 50 years, supporting thousands of jobs in the process. And while other parties, and it must be said, notably the Liberals, were happy to plan for the closure of this station, Premier Ford, Minister Bethlenfalvy, and our entire government are standing up for those workers, for the 80,000 workers in Ontario's nuclear sector, with a plan to refurbish this station and keep the lights on. And so today we're taking the next step in this work. And that's why I'm pleased and honored to announce that Ontario is moving forward and has approved OPG's plans to proceed with the next phase of work as we prepare for the refurbishment of the Pickering Nuclear Generating Station. And it just must be said, this is 2,000 megawatts of power we're securing for 2 million families. This represents 11,000 jobs during construction and roughly 5,000 jobs, permanent jobs, for those nuclear workers. Now, there's more that we're announcing today, because it really starts with an agreement between OPG and Canada to complete the early engineering and procurement work to prepare for the execution of the retube feeder and the boiler replacement program. This is effectively a replacement of all of the major components of the reactor, from the fuel channels to steam generators to the feeder pipes that bring the water to the core of the reactor. This work alone, which represents one of the key project deliverables, will create 2,400 new jobs in Pickering and across our province. Here in Mississauga, AtkinsRéalis is already hiring at a rate of 2 workers a day to support the upcoming projects. And they've added 60 workers just in January alone. But the impacts reach far further afield with Ontario's nuclear supply chain that contribute to this project. BWXT in Cambridge and Peterborough, Newtech in Arnprior, Cameco in Port Hope, and NWI Precision in Toronto. All of these communities will benefit from the supply chain that Minister Nina Tangri and I are trying to enact so that we really expand the benefits across Ontario. And talking about that principle, OPG is also committed to spending $100 million with Indigenous companies over the life of this refurbishment to ensure those communities that host the project see real benefits too. And when you look at the project as a whole, the benefits are even greater. I talked a bit about this, but this refurbishment would support more than 11,000 jobs annually. That speaks to the construction value. We're contributing $19.4 billion to our GDP over the next 11 years, a $19 billion lift to our economy, with 90% of spending happening on this project here in Ontario, with a Made in Ontario stamp of approval. It's the real proof that Ontario's success is shared by everyone. And that is the mission we're on, to create jobs, to deliver energy security, and to fight for Ontario and Canadian workers. And this work will start and get underway with OPG with the new progress to the project definition phase. That's what we're announcing today. The next step on this refurbishment, a $4.1 billion investment to develop a high-quality cost estimate and schedule for this project. That includes the detail engineering and the procurement and the contract work, and the creation of a robust project execution plan. In short, what this essentially means is that we're planning for the refurbishment of the Pickering Nuclear Station. We're planning to secure 2,000 megawatts of power and to save 5,000 to 6,000 jobs in this community. And just like the Darlington refurbishment, this project is continuing to track on budget and ahead of schedule. And there are few jurisdictions on earth that can make that claim, that we are ahead of schedule, we're on budget, and I'm looking at Nicole, we must maintain this rigor to the leadership of OPG, but she knows that this has been the truth of OPG, and we're going to keep building together for the benefit of Ontario. Made in Ontario, building in this province and country to secure an affordable energy future for our province and our communities. And ultimately, this is about really looking to the future for the next 25 years as we build the affordable energy we're going to need. I think now more than ever, in a time of challenge and difficulty in the world, we need leadership. And our Premier is demonstrating strong leadership for the people of Ontario, standing up for our jobs, for our supply chains, and for our future. And I'm proud to serve with him and with all of our colleagues as we work together to make sure that Ontario is a province that shines bright with the abundant, affordable energy that our families will need and our children deserve. So with that, I thank you all. Thank you for being with us for this incredible announcement as we move forward on Pickering, as we announce the largest contract ever with OPG, a $2.1 billion contract to create 2,000 jobs for a Made in Ontario solution to the parts. And let me just say thank you to our next speaker, who's been a strong champion of small business to make sure communities, small and large in Ontario, urban and rural, north, south, east and west, everyone benefits from our nuclear advantage. And that minister is Nina Tangri. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much, Minister Lecce, and good morning, everyone. It truly is a pleasure to be here today with Minister Lecce, Parliamentary Assistant Cusetto, MPP Sabawi, MPP Barnes, and so many others who have been totally instrumental in making today's announcement possible. The agreement between OPG and Canadam for the retube feeder and boiler replacement program is yet another step our government is taking to meet Ontario's demand for electricity, while promoting prosperity and job creation right across this province. I really want to thank Minister Lecce and PA Cuzzetto for their steady leadership and hard work and their amazing passion to ensure families and Ontario businesses have access to energy that is clean, reliable, safe, and affordable. I also want to extend my appreciation to all of our delivery partners for the important work that you do each and every day to build the infrastructure we need to power our communities. So as the Associate Minister of Small Business, I'm thrilled that the refurbishment of the Pickering Nuclear Generating Station will support hundreds of well-paying jobs for workers in Pickering and, of course, right here in Mississauga. And I'm pleased it will keep energy costs down for the more than 450,000 small businesses that call Ontario home, playing a very essential role in supporting Ontario's international position as a world leader in nuclear energy. Alongside the $10.9 billion investment in energy efficiency programs announced last week by Minister Lecce, today's investment solidifies Ontario's position as a leader in clean, reliable energy, not just for today, but for years and generations to come. I'm proud that under the leadership of Premier Ford and Minister Lecce, our government will continue to keep costs down for our job creators and keep Ontario the best place to live, raise a family, and to start a business. And with that, it is my true pleasure to introduce Joe St. Julian, President of Nuclear at AtkinsRéalis. Thank you so much, everyone.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Joe St. Julian, and I have the honor of being the president of AtkinsRéalis's nuclear business. We are the proud stewards of the Made in Canada, can-do nuclear technology, not just here at home, but around the world. On behalf of everyone at Can-Do Energy, Inc., I would like to recognize and commend the steadfast leadership of Minister Lecce and Premier Ford's government in bringing the Pickering refurbishment project to life. Today's announcement is a clear testament to this government's foresight and dedication to ensuring a sustainable energy and economic future for Ontario's citizens and its skilled workers. I've had the opportunity to speak with both Premier Ford and Minister Lecce on several occasions. As you can imagine, Minister, I have traveled far and wide to represent this great Ontario-based nuclear business and promoted this fantastic can-do technology on behalf of AtkinsRéalis, Ontarians, and Canadians before many private and public sector leaders. I can say without a doubt that Ontarians are privileged to have such a passionate, competent, and committed leader at the helm of their energy department. It takes vision to proceed with the Pickering refurbishment and get all the stakeholders aligned around a common goal and a common purpose. Minister Lecce, I would like to express my gratitude to OPG and to you, sir, for the ongoing confidence and trust in Can-Do Energy and our longtime partner, AECON. As the original equipment manufacturer of Can-Do technology, we take immense pride in our expertise and our proven track record of delivering projects on time and within budget. That track record of excellence will continue with the Pickering refurbishment. You can count on all of us to deliver. This life extension project is of vital landmark importance. It will not only ensure the continued safe and efficient operation of the Pickering Nuclear Generating Station, providing Ontario with reliable, low-carbon electricity for the next 30 years, but it will also sustain and enhance the province's economic prosperity. Minister Lecce, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to your investment in infrastructure that is vital to maintaining Ontario's leadership in nuclear energy. I understand that Ontario is considering new, large nuclear reactors, and that this decision also necessitates a choice of technology. With everything that is happening in the world today, it is more critical than ever to put Canada first. Our collective provincial and national security depends on it. Can-Do, AtkinsRéalis, Aecon, the rest of the Canadian nuclear supply chain, and the tens of thousands of unionized workers in Ontario stand ready to defend, protect, and promote the energy security of Ontario and of Canada. I hope the next announcement we make together will be to build brand new CANDU reactors right here in this wonderful province. Together, I am confident that we are building a brighter, cleaner, and more sustainable future for all Ontarians. Thank you. And with that, I'd like to introduce the industry legend, John Beck.
Good morning, everyone. Bonjour, tout le monde. It's very nice to see so many people here today supporting this exciting new step for the Pickering Nuclear Refurbishment Project. I'd like to give a special thank you to the Honourable Minister of Energy, Stephen Lecce, Minister of Energy and Electrification, Mr. Lecce, as well as our valued client, Ontario Power Generation, for their visionary leadership in advancing this important energy project, clean energy project. It's also fantastic to be joined by Member of Parliament Rudy Cussetto and Associate Minister of Small Business Nina Tangri. And thank you to Atkins Riddles for hosting today. Aecon is proud to be playing an important role as the constructor on this project, building the critical infrastructure required to meet the growing needs of communities and businesses across Ontario. As we like to say at Aecon, we're building what matters to enable future generations to thrive. Moving forward with the Pickering Refurbishment Project builds on the continued success of our Canadian joint venture on the Darlington Refurbishment Project and is the next natural step for our proven partnership between OPG, Aecon, and Atkins Rialis. Underpinned by our extensive experience working together as one team, this next chapter to extend the operating life of the Pickering Nuclear Generation Station on its exceptional 50-year track record of providing clean, reliable, and affordable energy for Ontarians. Together, we will help ensure another 30-plus years of carbon-free power for Ontario with a commitment to continuing to achieve world-class safety, quality, schedule, and cost performance. This performance is driven by our people, leveraging unit-over-unit lessons learned. The Pickering refurbishment is another opportunity for our skilled trades and staff to continue their growth, maintaining thousands of jobs while inspiring the next generation of skilled trades professionals. When it comes to our Canadian joint venture, we simply have the best team. Canadian has already refurbished 3 units at the Darlington ahead of schedule. And harnessing our collective strengths, I'm confident that this team will continue to achieve incredible success. I should say that I have today, Minister, a picture of exactly the same ceremony in 2016 when we launched the construction phase of Darlington. A few of us are still standing.
Well, thankfully, there's a new minister in this photo, John, but that's very kind of you.
Thank you, and Minister, back to you.
Thank you so much. Okay.
We will now open up the floor to questions from the media. Please come up to the mic and state your name and outlet. As a reminder, it's one question, one follow-up. We'll start with our first reporter.
Good morning, Minister. I think I'm the only reporter here, so I was hoping I could ask more than 2 questions.
Okay.
That's all right. First, I wanted to ask about the announcement. Just with those 2,400 jobs you mentioned here, some of those jobs are already being filled and hired. I'm wondering if that means all 2,400 of those jobs will be filled by the end of the year, or kind of what's the timeline on all of those coming in?
Sure. So first off, the broader Pickering project, the refurbishment will sustain on the construction side 11,000 jobs to secure 2,000 megawatts of power akin to energy for 2 million homes. This is a 30-year life extension, which our independent analysis would suggest would add a more than $19 billion lift to the GDP of Ontario. And then specific to the project, with the next phase of construction, this $4 billion investment in Pickering in moving this refurbishment forward, that will create 6,000 permanent direct and indirect jobs in the communities across Pickering and frankly across Ontario. And I think, when we talk about jobs, we shouldn't focus on the number, we should focus on the impact to thousands of lives. Because if governments of the past had their way, and if the former Liberals had their way, we wouldn't be standing here today. 6,000 families wouldn't have a job to look forward to, and thousands of families wouldn't have, and supply chains wouldn't be benefiting from this type of investment. So what we're really emphasizing is that we need more long-term vision to build our energy security. And we need governments to think beyond short-term 2-3 year cycles and think about our kids and grandkids. This investment in Pickering probably may not benefit us. I mean, this is going to refurbish these units into the 2030s, but it'll definitely benefit our children. And that's the vision, that's the lens we're applying to everything we do with respect to these projects. With respect to the Can-Adam project, 90% of the investment we're announcing, this $2 billion investment for those components, 90% is going to be built with made in Ontario parts and components. So, and Joe mentioned the local supply chain benefits. And as I noted, 2,400 jobs over the course of that work. I may actually ask a member of the team who may want to speak about the duration of that contract, because those are jobs that will be benefiting us for the medium term, and then there's permanent jobs with respect to the refurb.
Thank you, Mr. Lecce. Yeah, so I'm Sugo Sinathambi, the Chief Project Officer with OPG. So the project is a 10-year project. We will be starting construction in January of 2027. So the Pickering Station will continue to operate. And as Minister Lecce said, this definition phase will be planning in terms of engineering, procurement, and detailed planning. And the workforce that we talked about in terms of trades will start probably in the late 2026 as we start to ramp up construction to be ready for the refurbishment project in 27.
Minister, I think your time in the U.S. this week may have been rubbing off on you. You referred to the Premier as President Ford earlier.
Did I?
Yes.
The President of the province of Ontario. Yeah, okay. I'm not going to stand when he walks in a room, though, okay? I don't think I could do that. That's too West Wing, but okay, Premier Ford.
Yes, well, I'm just curious about how was your trip to Washington this week? Who did you meet with? How did it all go?
So Minister Vic Fideli and I were sent down to Washington really with one mission, which was to get in front of decision makers in business and in governments to dissuade American congressional leaders and decision makers, particularly the Democrats and Republican Party, to move away from this tariff policy, which will cost American consumers and Canadians as well, and to make clear that there is an alternative path with the Fortress AMCAN strategy. I was fortunate to be able to interface with the energy leadership team in the United States, as well as with the incoming Secretary of the Treasury, which was a very rare opportunity for a Canadian to get in front of him and make really a simple message. In a binary world where commodities are often possessed by despotic regimes or very few democracies, where they're going to need uranium and potash, the choices are Canada or Saskatchewan, or enabling and financing Vladimir Putin. In a world where we need petroleum, the choice is Canada and Ontario or Saskatchewan, or it's Venezuela, and enabling the human rights abusing regimes there. Our point was to appeal to the national security instincts of Republicans who I think want to secure their country and want to decouple dependence from these authoritarian regimes. And Canada is and remains a democratic ally and their closest trading partner, with $500 billion of trade that depend on it, and 9 million Americans who woke up today depending on this relationship. So that message, I believe, resonated. I think we also appreciate there's an audience of one when it comes to our advocacy. So we're going to keep a very forward posture. The Premier has been leading this, getting in front of congressmen and women, as well as governors and leaders in the U.S., the Canada-U.S. Chamber, and a series of others to put maximum pressure on President Trump and his administration that we want to work together in the broader national and economic interests of our countries. We want to build a continental approach to energy security that gives the U.S. preferential access to resources that they do not have a domestic supply for. And when I think of rare earths like titanium that they absolutely need, like existentially need for their military hardware and applications, there are not many places on Earth that have that type of commodity. We do. The highest grade nickel on Earth is in the Ring of Fire in Northern Ontario. So that message resonates. We're going to keep that forward posture, keep getting in front of those leaders. The premiers, as you know, all of them are heading down to Washington to impress upon Republican and Democratic leaders the importance of this relationship. And I just assure the people of Ontario we stand ready to respond in defense of our jobs, and the Premier will continue to stand up for our country at this critical time.
Do you feel like for you personally, your approach to these discussions has changed at all after anything that you heard in Washington this week, or are you kind of staying the course that you've been going so far?
I think reaffirming the national security intersection with energy security really does appeal to our audience. They understand there's two choices before our American friends. It's partnering with democratic Canada or financing and enabling dictators around the world. Like, it really is as simple and binary as that. That message resonates, and we should be proud of our country, proud of what our flag stands for, proud of our leadership in the world. And we want to leverage Canadian technology, Canadian businesses, and Canadian workers to come up with some of the solutions to global problems. Energy security is a real challenge, and I'm proud that we're building out our nuclear advantage in this province, because one day, when we'll get through this irritant, we want to send more clean energy into the U.S. We see this as a huge economic opportunity for Ontario. And, we're leading the first small modular reactor in the G7 happening right here in Ontario at Darlington, not too far from where we are today. This is leadership. The Premier is demonstrating true national leadership, and his number one priority is protecting our jobs and advancing this continental energy security alliance with our American friends. And we'll be seized with this. We'll continue fighting for this and making sure that everything we do is about creating a competitive advantage for Ontario so capital and jobs don't flow south, which is exactly what President Trump wants to see. So that's why we've got to eliminate the carbon tax. There cannot be a more compelling time right now to remove economic disadvantages. So the carbon tax being one of them, a big issue where a lot of our businesses may flow south because of those taxes that exist here, but not there. And you've heard the Premier talk about governmental barriers to trade and how we have to unlock the various protectionist realities within the country if we want to be a strong federation that could fight back. So I'm grateful for his leadership. I think all Canadians are right now. We need more of it in the fight for Canada.
Last question. Do you have your campaign office set up for the election yet?
What I have set up is a desk to sign a $2.1 billion contract today to create a few thousand jobs. That's the priority for the government today and every day. Okay. We're good?
Okay, that concludes our press conference. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay.